Oh, hi. Oh my gosh. How are you? It's good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. We like to say that because depending on when you're watching this, all time is the same. Days that end in Y, why not? Hello, and welcome to Art Class with Herm. I'm Herm. I'm a Brooklyn based artist and illustrator, and I really love baseball and I love to draw it. And I hope that you love it too. And I'm here to teach you and show that inspiration of baseball drawing to you as well. So every episode, we're going to focus on a baseball themed drawing, most likely involving the Mets because it's my favorite team, and you gotta cater to your audience, kids, right? So today is May 15th, 2020, which is pretty crazy. It's my anniversary, 3 years. Big ups to my wife. She's in the other room, but she heard me. She's excited too. Anyway, if this is your first time here, welcome. This is our 16th episode, which is pretty wild. So, but not to worry, if you're a completist, you can go back and join us and draw all of our other 15 episodes by simply just scrolling back on all of the 7 line feeds. Or if YouTube is more your style, you can go to artclasswithherm.com. That's going to bring you to a YouTube playlist of all of our other videos. And you can draw and see all of how great and comical I am and all that fun stuff. So make sure to subscribe and share this with your friends too. You know, if they're like looking for something to draw or they love the Mets and things, send that out that way. That way the show can draw. We can bring it to a larger audience. Great. So in our last class, which was Wednesday, we drew the 7 p.m. clap with Mr. and Mrs. Met, saluting all of our frontline workers, essential workers, things like that. And we had a lot of people share their drawings along and draw along and stuff, which was really awesome. So like we do in every episode, we pick 3 artists that we loved, and we want to reward them for drawing along with us with a $10 gift certificate to the 7 Lines website. So those 3 artists this week are Holden, Brady, and the handle alter_DJ on Instagram. Sorry, I couldn't find your name for that one, but you know who you are. So yeah, so what we'll do, keep an eye on your DMs or inboxes in the next week or so. Those codes will come through. Feel free to buy something really cool on that. Awesome. So before we jump into our drawing for today, let's talk about the supplies we're going to need. So there are no rules here, but what I like to do is I'm just going to grab a basic sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper directly from my printer. Nothing too crazy. I think I got this from the dollar store. Pens, markers, crayons, colored pencils, anything that you want to draw with, feel free to grab. There are no rules here, like we say. We just want to have a really fun time. Oh, and before I jump ahead on that, how can I forget? Special shout out to Jennifer and Scarlett, who sent me an email with this amazing drawing of me. Look at that. No one loves Herm more than Herm. So you really know how to please me there. And if you could look, you can see that it's me holding the drawings that we taught. So it's kind of like Inception in a little bit. And it's on the back of some homework. So glad that we got to learn something today. So Jennifer and Scarlett, thank you for that. You made my day. I hope that everybody else likes that too. All right, cool. Enough about me. Let's talk about you and what we're here to draw today. So today, we are going to be drawing the Shea Stadium scoreboard skyline. If that makes sense. There's a lot of S's in there, but this is one of my favorite things that the Mets have ever done. And I did a little bit of research on it, and this was added to the scoreboard according to Wikipedia in 1998 at the top of Shea Stadium, which is really cool. So it's based off of the New York skyline, very similar to the logo itself. After September 11th, they turned off the lights on World Trade Center and added that ribbon there, which I thought was a really nice touch. And then once Shea Stadium was actually taken down, it was brought to Citi Field. And if you've ever waited in that crazy line for Shake Shack, this is actually on top of that right now. So big shouts to the Mets and whoever designed that. I thought that was a really cool feature to bring over to the new ballpark as well. And also shouts out to Danny Finley. You should be seeing a photo on your screen now of a really cool photograph that he took that we just wanted to highlight and give some credit to the artist. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. And this is one of my favorite things, again, in Citi Field and from Shea. So I hope we can have a little fun time and draw that together. Sound cool? Awesome. So like we always say, don't be intimidated by this. I'm going to walk you through step by step how to do this whole drawing on there. It's not too bad. Basically, it's like this kind of oval in there. And then we're going to draw kind of like this cityscape in here. So I will warn you, do not worry if it does not look exactly like mine. It's my drawing probably won't look exactly like this one right here because the lines have a lot of energy to it. You can see them like going down and up and stuff. So the key features here is you want to find a couple of buildings that you want, like the World Trade Center, Empire State Building, and some of these other buildings in there, maybe the Chrysler Building, if that's what that is, and we can kind of add those in. So if you're drawing from another part of the world or another city or something, and you want to draw your city in there, that's cool too. So let's have fun. Cool. All righty, so here we go. So I'm going to be drawing my paper sideways, so horizontally, so I can get the most of my drawing on there. And I'm going to be using my really cool Pentel brush pen, which is my #1 go-to thing. And the first thing we're going to do, let me get comfortable there for a sec. All right. So as you can see in my final drawing here, we're going to take up a majority of the paper going from left to right, right? So we want to plan out where we want to make our marks on our paper. So obviously the main focal point here, sorry to keep bringing that back and forth, is going to be this Mets sign in there, right? So that's what we're going to start with first, and then we'll build off from there. All right, so let's plan out our drawing. So here's the middle, right? So I'm going to draw a big oval shape right here, well, like an oval or like an egg, you know? So I'm going to take my brush pen right here, and just in the middle, I'm just going to, going to make that oval shape right there. Now, this is a kind of a fun thing. Let me show you here. So what you can do is you can make kind of like this rainbow curve. Then you can like flip your paper around and kind of continue that shape a bit. I make it a little bit easier to draw that. So that's what I'm going to do. So you're going to get a shape like this. So again, don't worry if it's not perfect. Like we always say in the classes here, my favorite part about drawing is you get this like this liveliness to the lines, right? Cool. So there's one. So a lot of this drawing, when you look at it, it's basically like a big fluorescent light, which is pretty neat. So we're going to draw a couple of different layers in this to get those light bulbs in there. And what I mean by that is I'm going to draw one more of this oval shape inside of this shape. So same thing, I'm just going to draw that curve in there. And then I'll flip that around and just continue that curve. So when you're drawing this line here, just make sure that you leave a little bit of space in between, because we're going to fill that up with smaller circles in a few minutes to kind of give the illusion of light bulbs in there, right? So we have this kind of a basic shape in there. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to make little circles on the inside of this shape. See what I mean right here? So what I'm doing is I'm just putting little circles on the inside of this shape. And you can space them out how you want. I'm basically, making one going over about an inch or so. And wherever I have space in my sign there, I'm just going to draw these lights in. What's really fun about this one, this drawing compared to some of the other ones we've done in the past, is this one's going to be really coloring centric. So I'm going to be using my crayons for a bit in that last part of our class here. So we're just going to lay out our drawing now with our pen or pencil. Great. So now that we have this shape right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write Mets on the inside. So let me show you on this. So you can write whatever you want in here, but mine, to make it look like that skyline, I'm going to have the Mets typeface in here. So I'm just going to make like a script, like a cursive Mets, and I'm going to make it like a bubble letter. So everybody writes a little differently, but if you want to follow along, I'll show you how I do it. What I do is I usually start with the top, and I come down. And again, I'm making these bubble letters here because I'm going to fill in that area with those circles like we did before. So, here's my M. Get a little more ink there. There we go. Pop it in there. And this just takes practice, guys. So again, don't worry if yours doesn't look exactly like mine. We're just having fun. So here's my T for Mets. And I come down. And one of the things with here is I always give this like little dent on the inside. So here's the bottom of the T, make that little dent. And then same thing with that S. Let me fill in those shapes right there. Great. So now that I have that here, so I'll give everyone a second there. Let me finish mine up. So we have our Mets written in there, right? So we're going to add in the circles there in a second for the light bulbs. But like we do on our other drawings too, I'm going to add what I call that heavenly glow on the outside. So what that means is I'm just going to trace around the outside to give it a little bit more detail. So same thing, I'm just going to take a little bit of a line and a little bit of a space and just slightly add in a little bit of that heavenly glow on the outside of my Mets logo right there. A bee just ran into my window, so if you saw my head jerk up, I was like, oh my gosh, it's a big one. Anyway, so again, just adding that little heavenly glow around there. Popping that in. And then see these little areas here, like between the E and the T and the T and the S, there's a little space there. So I'm just going to draw a little shape right there. You see that? So between the E and the T and the T and the S, I just put that little bit. Now, no one's probably ever going to notice that. That's for the artist eye. So we'll see that and be like, oh, thank goodness I put that. All right. So once you get all that in, now just like we did with these circles that make the lights on the inside of these ovals, I'm going to do that again on the inside of the Mets. So let me show you. So inside the M, I'm just going to draw some circles there. And I am just following the shape of that. So you can see what I mean right there. So basically, they're just kind of like going up and they're following the curves of the letters. So I'm popping those in. And sorry if my big freckly arm is in the way, but I'll try to move it as best as I can. Yeah, we're just filling that in. Because again, when we color it in, we're going to make this area blue, for example, and the Mets logo is going to be like an orange. So these little details will really make it look cool. Awesome, right? So that's fun. We got a little something. This one's going to look really cool when we're all done. That's a promise. All right. So now that we have that there, we are going to draw the New York skyline here. So what I'm going to do is I'll draw a little slow, but if you want to follow the way my hand is, the best way I can describe is we're going to be making like some rectangles with like triangle points at the end. So my hand is just going to kind of go up and down and make some fun, lively, organic kind of lines in there. Now, if you want to jump ahead and draw your own building or your house or anything like that, do it. That sounds really cool, and I really can't wait to see it. But if you want to follow along with me, again, I'm just going to have my pen, and I'm going to draw nice and slow so you guys can see where my hand's going so we can kind of copy that together. Cool? So I'm going to start on the left, and I'm going to build my buildings out till I get to the end right here and then stop. So I'm going to start here on the left there, and, I'll just have a little building, a little line come out like that, and then come down and up like this and such. So this is one of my favorite things about the New York skyline in general, is there are a lot of like tall buildings, right? And they all have different shapes on there. So there, like I said before, there's no wrong way to do this. So you can see, these are like my kind of buildings that I'm making right now. So you can see it's just like to the left, down and up, maybe some curves in there. So right here, I'm going to add the Empire State Building, which is one of my favorite buildings in the city. So if you've ever seen King Kong on there, so we've got the Empire State Building, it like has this cool shape. It comes up really tall, right? Then there are these levels to it. There's like a little level there, comes up, and there's that curve, and then up again. And there's that tall point at the top. That's where like King Kong climbs up there. So I have that there. And then once you have that there at the top, I'm just going to create the same shape I just made coming down. So there you have like an Empire State Building kind of drawing. Pretty cool, right? So then around here again, I'm just going to make some of these shapes on there. And again, I apologize for my freckly hand, but I can't help it. It's in the way. So again, I'm going to pop in those drawings there. So then right here, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the World Trade Center right here with the Twin Towers, right? But before I add that in, we have this like memorial ribbon that's going to be right there. So I'm going to draw that first and then put the towers behind it. So I'm going to pop that right there on the screen so you can see as I kind of draw that there. So you see that right there? So that's what I'm going to draw. And I'll pop it right here. But let me show you how I do it. So I'm going to draw this part of it first, and it's going to come around like that. So I'll draw one little line like that right there. Then I'm going to come up, and I'm going to make this like twirl kind of come down. So you see that shape right there? So again, I made that line up there, and then I came up and made this almost like, you know, like an apostrophe kind of shape right there. If you've been following along in all these episodes, you can play bingo with the different shapes I have. He said apostrophe, and you didn't say sausage yet for those kind of shapes. Anyway, going off topic. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up again, and I'm just going to follow that shape. And I'm going to leave space in between it because we're going to put the red, white, and blue in there in a bit. So again, I'm just coming up now, and I'm following that shape like that. So you can see, like I just made the same shape, but I kind of broadened it out a little bit. And then I'm just going to put this little tail end at the end there too. Neat, right? So let me pop that out. And we'll put where the towers will be right here. So up. There's one. I'll come down. And again, they're going to be behind the ribbon there. So I'm going to pop one right there. Then another one right here. There we go. So now that I have that shape right there, I'm just going to continue with just a few more up and down buildings on there. I like to add those points on the top of the buildings there. And then I'm going to stop right there. So now that I have my city skyline on the left right here, what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to do the same drawing, but kind of leaving a little bit of space in there because we're going to color this in a bit. So let me show you what I mean. So now this time I'm going to start all the way on the side of the left here. And I'm just going to like make them almost like the bubble letters in a bit. So can you see what I mean? So I'm kind of loosely following that shape again, but leaving a little bit of space. That way it'll look cool when we color it in with our crayons in a few, or colored pencils, or paint. Did you see, you got to look on Instagram, I sent it, my friend Chris, he used some spray paint on his 7 o'clock clap drawing from last week. Oh, it looks so cool. So as the weather gets better, let me know where you guys are drawing. Not even just where you're drawing from, but like where. Like, are you in the backyard drawing in the nice weather with a nice breeze? That sounds really nice. I wish I had a backyard. Coming to you from my living room. Move the couch over, got the table here. All right. So now that we have this area here, we're going to continue on this side with more cityscape. And just like I did before, I'm going to add a couple buildings. I'm going to go up and down. So again, make sure to have fun with this, you know, draw whatever kind of buildings you like. You can draw Grand Central Station in there, the Chrysler Building. I don't know if you guys seen one of my favorite buildings in the city. I don't even know what it's for, but it's by Bryant Park. So it's on 42nd Street. And it looks like a half pipe. That's what I would always see. So I would like daydream walking around with like a skateboard and like riding down it. Always looked kind of fun. But don't do that. You would hurt yourself. All right, cool. There we go. So now that I have my cityscape here, I'm going to do the same thing I did over here by just following along again with that shape. and popping that in. So I don't know if any of these buildings are true to scale or look like anything in particular, but I just think they're kind of some fun shapes. That's just really cool. If you ever see like a drawing like this, like these kind of buildings, I think most people would think it's a New York skyline. So you got that going for you. Great. Okay. So let me pull up my final drawing again. So you see here, I have these like these little yellow squares in there. So we're going to color that in a minute, but I'm just going to add a couple of little squares kind of randomly in the buildings here. And that is just to give the illusion of like windows, you know? So, you know, I'll pick a couple spots and maybe I'll draw a couple little squares right here. Maybe one or two here. And feel free to put them wherever you want. If you want to have fun, you maybe have the, you know, the square spelling something. Like, we love to draw. We love New York, that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm just going to add those squares in there. So again, I'm just picking a couple spots to put them. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I think everyone's drawings are going to look a little different from this one. Great. So actually, we're almost done with our drawing. This is a really quick one. So now that we have that right there, now what we're going to do is we're going to add in our bridge. I had a brain fart. I was like, what's it called again? So that's going to come over from the left to the right. I'd love to show you how I'm going to draw mine. So I'm going to do the first part. I'm going to draw the top, and then we'll come in and fill the bottom. Sound good? Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to bring it down to this side. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick where I want it. So I'm going to have the bottom part of the bridge come up to like here. So I'll start right here, and I'm just going to draw a line right there. And I'm going to come up. There's going to be that curve like that. And I'm going to put another line at the top right there, because it's going to be like the top of like one of the pillars of the bridge. And I'm going to come down like this. Pop that in right there. Just something like this. You see that right now? So we have that line there. We make the curve up, a line. Then we have a curve coming down, then back up. I'm going to put another flat line at the top, and then make the same shape here. So come down like that, and then cut it off again at the end. Great. So that's the top part of our bridge. Now let's go and make the bottom part. So kind of similar shape. So I'm going to start over here on the left again. Come up like this. Now here's where it's going to get a little different. So now this is the pillar part of the bridge, right? So here I'm going to come down like that. And I'm going to make like a rectangle. So another flat area right there at the bottom. And then one more up here coming up and down, just like that. Kind of cool, right? And then again, I'm going to follow along. So again, I'm going to come down and follow this shape here. And the reason, again, we have these big spaces in between is we're going to put circles in there for our lights. And just like we did on the left, we'll do the same thing on the right. Just like that. All right. And then one more like that. Cool. All right, so now that we have this part of the bridge, like the suspension part of the bridge, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw a line just straight across. So I'm going to come down, and my goal is to just kind of connect it all. I'm just making a quick line like that, coming across. And then I'm going to close it off on both sides. So just a line coming down. And make another little space. Just like this. Not too bad, right? So now you can see on my final drawing here, we have these like basically rectangles. They're going to come up and down throughout the rest of the bridge there to tie it all together. So I'm just going to draw these rectangles just in between the space of the bridge. You see what I mean right here? Just these right there. So when you're making them, the goal here is to just make kind of like an even amount of space between each one. A little more ink. Yeah, so I'm just going to pop that in there. And again, there's no like correct amount that you need to put in there. As long as you're just popping them in and they're all about the same distance apart from each other, it's going to look great. Man, I wish that we could all go to Citi Field now. It'd be cool to like have this up and we could like take a picture with all of our drawings of the skyline in front of it, and then we can all get Shake Shack. Has anyone ever waited in line at Citi Field for that Shake Shack? It is too intimidating for me. I look at it and I'm like, nah, I'm good. Maybe when it first opened, it was more easier because there was like I think that was the only Shake Shack. That one and that one in what is it, Madison Square Park? Anyway, we didn't come here to talk about burgers, did we? We came here to talk about this. All right, here we go. So we're almost done here. So now what I'm going to do, in the bridge that we made, I'm going to draw those circles in there to make those lights. So again, I'm just going to follow along with the shape. And you can make your circles as big as you want. So I'm going to have one row of these circle lights coming through here. And I am just following along with the shape of the bridge. This is a really fun drawing. What I enjoy about this, as you can see, just these simple shapes, when they all come together, you get this really cool looking drawing, right? And then it's up to you if you want, but I'm going to have like a home run coming up here. So I'm going to draw a circle at the top right there to make like a baseball. And then I'm going to add my stitching in there. So just 2 lines. And then those little heart shapes that we draw for our stitching of our baseball. So you can see that right there, just some little hearts. And then I'm going to have them going the opposite way here. And then I like these like action lines. So I'm gonna, because I want to show off where the baseball's going, right? So for that, my baseball is going like to the right. So I'm just draw these lines. They're just quickly, you just kind of throw those lines in there. And it gives it a fun little look. All right. So now that we drew this in there, let's go ahead and color it. So these are the colors I'm going to use. Like it's going to be like orange, yellow, blue. And that's going to be, and a lightly gray, a little black in there. So let's color that in together. Let me get my crayons. Oh my goodness, where is my blue? There it is. So I'm just going to color it. So the blue, I'm just going to like kind of follow along with these same shapes that I did in there and pop that in. So excellent. So while we color this, we have some time to talk. How's your day going, everybody? It's really nice out today. So if you are drawing along with me on May 15th, it is supposed to be 85 degrees today in New York City, which is wild because yesterday was kind of cold a little bit. So should be a nice day. So make sure if you go outside, put your mask on so you can protect yourself and everybody else. I'm getting really used to wearing the mask. It is a little hard when you have a big orange beard. I guess the color of your beard doesn't matter. But in my case, big orange beard, you get this like beard dent, like kind of cuts in like that. It's the weirdest thing. If you ever see me when I have it off, that's what that is. Got a little dent right there. I'm gonna pop that in. So in the drawing, in the actual skyline board that's above Shake Shack at Citi Field, the Twin Towers are left not drawn in. So if you want to follow that guideline, I'm just going to leave the drawing part of it out there. I'm not going to color it in. So that's the blue. So I'm going to take some orange now and going to color in my orange on the outside. Pop that in right there. And then I'm going to color the inside part of my Mets. So that heavenly glow on the outside, I'm going to make that yellow, just to give it a little more, as I like to say, to get the brightness of the lights. So I'll pop that in right there. So where's everybody drawn from today? I know we like to say this. We got people from all over the world. We have friends in Italy and Japan and where else? From all over the country, LA, friends in Maryland, which is cool. And then, of course, here in the great state of NY, baby. All right. Pop that in. So I'm just going to color this in quickly. And then my lights here, this is cool. So you can go in and like kind of color each one individually if you want. But I like to just kind of, I have like a really loose kind of style on there where I'll just kind of color them in quickly. And that's my favorite thing about crayons is that they're a really loose tool. So you can go in and like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just kind of giving like the look and the illusion of where everything is on there. All right, pop it in there. So let me add that blue right on the inside here. And this drawing came from a suggestion from somebody that draws along with us. So in the comments there, write along anything that you want to draw. Like if there's like something you've been like aching to draw, you're like, oh man, that'd be so cool. Let us know so we can all draw it. I lost my orange fell on the ground there. So adios. It is gone. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to loosely color in this night scene by just taking this black crayon and just lightly coloring that in. I'm going to pop that in right there. And what's cool is you can like kind of go over the yellow a little bit that you colored in the lights. It's not going to affect it at all right there. And I'll fill this in there. Well, my orange crayon is gone. Otherwise, I would totally color this in your orange. So, oh, and there goes my red. Man, I got to get like a crayon holder or something. Anyway. And then here, so in like this part, so this memorial ribbon is basically red, white, and blue in there. So I'm going to take like my blue crayon and I'm just going to kind of like follow along on the outside there. To kind of give that blue look right there. There goes another crayon. And then like that red. And I'm just going to follow that in right there too. And color in my stitches. All right. So continue to draw and color and make it as awesome as you want and as much detail in there. But I'm just going to leave mine right there because we didn't come here to watch me color all day. But when you're all done and you get something nice and beautiful there, what we want to do is we want to sign our artwork. That's probably one of the greatest things you can do to show ownership of your drawing and to show to bragging rights, right? You worked really hard on this. So I like to sign in the bottom right-hand corner. So I'm going to write my name there. Herm. And if you got like a really cool autograph, let's see it. Like I write my name, I put this little smiley face down there. It's kind of cool. And then let's date it. So today is May 15th. And what's really cool about dating your drawing 2020 is when you continue to draw, and if you wanted to draw this again, or just you'll see how much better your drawings get over time, like daily, weekly, monthly, that sort of thing. So it's a really special kind of souvenir, little treat that you can see overall with that. So that's pretty cool on there. So awesome. How was that? Did you guys have fun? This is kind of a fun drawing. Put that in a frame, put it on the fridge, remember it forever. It was a cool time that we had together. So like, I really want to see your drawing. So feel free, whoops, my hot dog. So feel free to share them along. It's one of my favorite things too. So if you want to share it along, you can find me on Instagram at Herman. This is the best way to get in contact with me. This is my favorite social media of choice. If Twitter is more your style, don't worry. You can get me there at hermsterms.com. I always say, and I promise that if you post something on there, I'll comment, I'll repost it, and we can share our drawings together, which is cool. And make sure to tag the 7 line too. That way we can share it all together over our big drawing family on there. Now, if this is your first time drawing and you worked really hard, but maybe you're a little shy, you don't want to share it on the Instagram or Twitter or something, don't worry. You can email me, Herm at hermsterms.com. Just like Jennifer and Scarlett did. They sent me their drawings there too. And same thing, it's the same thing. I'll cherish it forever, and I'll make sure to respond and talk about that. And if you forget that, you can always jump on my website, hermsterms.com, and you can see some of my other drawings on there and maybe some non-baseball stuff. I drew the Westminster Dog Show, which is pretty cool. So if you like dogs, you can check that out. But anyway, it was awesome drawing with you guys today. You're amazing. You're going to do wonderful things with your life every single day. I love you to death. Have an awesome day. And we will see you next Wednesday with the new drawing, probably Mets related, obviously, right? Be good. Be good to each other. And I'll see you soon. Bye.